thinking about that one, so right out.
3.5
I'm
maybe.
gonna ask you about that. I don't know my phone with me, so if I say
That's
it,
okay.
no.
I don't think I saved yours. I never write my phone number, so I have to think about it. That's a 93619.
It's 9 a.m. We'll call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. We'll start with the roll call, please.
Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We have minutes that were sent out on the email from August 19th. Shannon, if you had a chance to review those, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second. Any further discussion, additions, or corrections? Anything change? Any changes, Shannon, on the minutes?
Not that I saw.
Okay. And all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our only business item really are claims to approve. And Shannon, I don't know what order you have them. I have them here on paper.
I have them on email here.
Okay, I'll go in your order if you give me time to find them.
Okay, so you're ready to start those now?
Yes, I am.
First one I have is a $50 under membership.
Yeah. EMA postage publications, $50 membership, yes. All Hazards Incident Management Teams Association, Inc. Okay, the only thing I would say about this is the organization that we were not asked about whether or not the EMA director should be a member of it. But having said that, I'm not opposed to the membership. I'm just saying, I think.
I don't understand the membership, so it's hard for me to say yes or no one way or the other. I assume it's a kind of an extra volunteer item that all EMAs are also part of in the area.
Not all of them, only select ones. There's only a 60-man mobile support team out of the state of Illinois. I'm one of them. Been on it since 17 or 18. I was on it when I was hired here.
But it wasn't disclosed, at least I
I
don't
was
think it
disclosed to
was.
Sheriff Hunt. That's why you let me go.
I know you're on
outside
that team, the IMET team?
The incident management team, yes.
Yeah, I know you're on that. I don't know anything about the membership.
It's a membership to the National Organization for Networking and
You know, their application has a place on there for employer's approval. That's what I was looking at. So I don't know that anybody here would approve this. That was my question.
I'm not sure, but Sheriff Hunt, you approved my application to Florida Region 4-6. So there's that one on file. That's the one you wrote the reference letter for also.
I did. But I think it should be clear if we're gonna talk about stuff that happened prior to, and then when I lost, supervisory rights, everything switches over. I mean, you have to go through your current supervisor to get things renewed or approved, or at least discussed with it. Yeah, I approved that, and I did that, and I don't have an issue with admitting that I did that, so.
So Sheriff Hunt, since you approved it, you must know about it. Is that an honor for us, our EMA, to be part of that organization, or just an extra volunteer item that some other EMAs?
What are you talking about, what I approved?
This committee that he's going to?
That membership?
Membership.
I didn't approve that. He's saying I was aware and knew of his IMT affiliation, which is the state. Yes, that is correct. That was also on his, I believe, might have been on his
Resume and application.
Correct.
So is this a yearly fee?
Yes.
It says renewal membership annual, yes.
But the other question is, does this take you out of the county often? Or
Not often, but I can be requested through EMAC agreements with the state.
we've not been made aware of those trips in advance? That's my question. Oh, and I'd be inclined to go ahead and pay this because, or what do you think, Shannon?
You said other EMAs are on this team.
I believe there's only 6 other EMAs in the state. Most of them are state police, FBI, DEA. There's a few former Chicago fire chiefs. It's it's one of the more prestigious mobile support teams.
But the question is, do we want our EMA director out of the county for
This is actually the membership, isn't the Florida thing. It's a different thing.
Well, the membership's to the national organization. It's like the Sheriff's Association, the whole association.
Right. So the Florida thing is not related to this.
No.
So this is an organization, you could be a professional organization, you can be a member of without serving on the team.
That's not really, it's not really how it works. I mean, if I'm called up, I'm supposed to do my best to report.
You know, maybe we'll set this on the side and move on. What's next, Shannon?
Well, the membership, I don't think, is the membership, I'm just asking for
Yeah, go ahead.
clarification, because it sounds like it's a membership, is the Yell Hazards, what do you call it, Yell Hazards? what is
Incident Management Team
Incident
Association.
Management Team Association, is it just a membership, or are you a part of the team?
I'm a part of the Illinois team and I'm a part of the Florida team. What we're talking about here is a $50 payment to the National Association of Incident Management Teams.
But the question is, you're employed here full-time, so how can you be running all around doing this?
Mr. Spencer, these are agreements that we have between other organizations. It's just how our fire departments work as well. They're mutual aid. That's how the emergency management system works. When you have people that are trained in certain skills that are needed elsewhere, they can be pulled from certain places to get those skills. And those are agreements, memorandums of acknowledgement, memorandums of understanding that are signed with the state and with other agencies. This is national. We're looking at putting a team out to the forest fires here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So this is a national request system.
Sounds like quite an honor to be on that, Mike.
Well, I don't want to. I really don't want to say that, but it kind of is. There's only 6 EMAs in the state. The rest of them have other credentials. The lesser.
If you have to drive to a forest fire, I assume there's some sort of reimbursement for mileage, or you take a vehicle that they provide you with, or do you take the county?
No, if we were to be activated to go out to the fires in California or whatever, we would fly. It's all paid for by federal and state.
So any mileage occurred with our county vehicle that gets reimbursed by this team?
Yes, there shouldn't be any mileage for the county vehicle unless there's if there's a meeting in Champaign or something. Normally everybody brings their duty vehicles or whatever, but other than that, I would not be required to take my vehicle to an IMT response.
When you say duty vehicle, you mean your personal, is that, what is the,
The EMA truck,
okay. You're referring to that as the duty vehicle.
well, the
Well, you
EMA
have a
vehicle.
budget, and if you want to join an organization, professional dues, I think that's part of what you can spend your budget on.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that, Mike. Some of these things you just don't know until you talk about it, so I appreciate it.
We'd like to be kept informed. What's next on your list?
$20.74 for a Facebook engagement.
Facebook engagement campaign.
That's the last half. I told you I spent $50 on a credit card. The way the billing cycle went is they charged $25 the first cycle or whatever. And the way I put it in was $50 or 1 month, whichever comes first. Well, the 1 month came first before my $50 was spent. So I really only, I think it was really only like $45 that we spent on it. So this is the second half of that Facebook charge that was on there last month.
And it says for Smedley Butler, is that like your call handle or something, or?
That's my personal page. When you make a page, you have to tie it to a page that you own. That's my personal page.
I'd like to speak to that if I
No,
could.
it's not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now? Okay.
But my question would be, why is the county paying for your personal page?
They're not paying for my personal page.
So you're saying our EMA page is under your personal page?
It has to be, according to Facebook rules.
Well, I don't see how the county can approve paying something for a Smedley Butler when I don't know who that is.
You just approved it last.
I didn't see this printout last time. Nevertheless, I don't know whether county taxpayer money can be spent on somebody, I don't even know, a Smedley Butler who.
We went through this last meeting. Now you're bringing up Smedley Butler. This is all covered under the federal PA grant for
I'd
information.
like to speak to that,
Well,
Mr.
Yeah, but
Holmes.
you can't until public comment.
Well, yes, I can.
We'll have
You
public
can
comment.
change the
We'll have-
rules.
We'll have public comment.
No, I'd like to speak to this now.
Well, let's continue. Let you talk at the.
So I think my last claims, I didn't realize the EMA and the personal Smedley account were tied together, so that's, I guess, what I didn't understand.
I didn't remember seeing that on the top of it last time. I know we had a discussion about Facebook ads and said you shouldn't be spending county money on them. You said you wouldn't, but we already had a bill outstanding. That's right, but I didn't realize it was going to Smedley Butler. It's,
Well, if I might just add to the point of what we're paying for, what you're paying for, not me. There are times when I'm sure employees have used like a personal site to do something for the county. I can't vouch for any, but I don't think you have to have a personal account tied to your government email, because the sheriff's office has a Facebook site. It's definitely not tied to my personal one.
I really feel that I'm entitled to speak. I'm sorry.
But-
I
but-
have
but I'm not-
information that
hold on.
can elucidate everything. And I want to speak because I want to get the hell out of this cesspool of COVID germs. I really want to get out of here. It's my first time out in the world. I can speak to this, and I would like to.
I just want to, hold on a second. If this is a legitimate county claim, I don't see any reason not to pay it. I would just add to it, let's just use county organizational resources to do the business. That way there's no confusion in the future about if it's your personal expense, I'm not saying it is, or if it's a county expense. I think there's probably something in the handbook about using personal stuff, but I'd have to take a look at that. I think that would clarify things and would stop the lack of confidence whether this is a personal expense or a county expense.
I agree.
So it'd be the last one on Facebook.
Yeah, and we did approve the first part of this evidently. but
Just didn't
this-
understand what it was tied to an EMA or personal call handle account here, I guess I'd say,
Yeah.
with a,
It's been in use since March. I would like to speak to this.
We get the-
I won't want to wait for public comments because this is pertinent in the business of the meeting. I don't want to go through all of these claims. I'm
We
sorry.
don't have too many more. We're trying to-
we'll get right through them here.
All right.
So we're moving on to the true value, $30 for 97 cents for batteries.
I can show you how to-
And probably,
Yeah, $30, 97 cents, true value batteries.
okay, moving on, 92.22 for McMillan. Some sort of equipment, hand cleaner, surface disinfectant,
Yep, that's
okay?
Ready to use defense disinfectant case, mulberry foaming hand soap case, deluxe 1 ounce dispensing pump, cap 11-inch tube length and CAF, 92.22.
Next is $9 for some postage. Oh, no, sales binder, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's this, yeah, I have a question about that, Mike. You know, you're the only one that uses this. None of the other departments use it. Is it necessary? I know you use it for your claims, but
I
nobody
use it-
else does.
I use it to track the inventory for all the Ema and Fema supplies I've received. And generate invoices to all departments that request. It's an inventory tracking system.
Okay, it's not just for claims submittals.
No,
Okay.
no, it has nothing to do with that. It's for tracking the PPE and other equipment that FEMA has issued us, and then how I distribute it out to the different departments.
So it's like $9 a month. What's next, Shane?
2746 for the boom lift, which we've,
Yeah, we can do these all together. We've got 4 for Sunbelt rentals, 2,332, 2,332, 2,332, and 2,746. And yeah, we all know what you use that for.
Yes, but I wanted to explain why they all come in at once. Apparently, they were going to a different address, and Linda and I have been trying to figure this out. It was going to 102 West Washington to my name, and neither of us were getting them. But Sunbelt was not getting them returned. So these were just lost until Sunbelt called and asked where they were at, and then sent a fax with all of them, and I asked Linda, should I pay them all at once? And she said yes, so that's why they're all coming.
A couple more, Shane.
for Sunbelt.
No, I meant, well, the Sunbelt thing, you know, my only comment was the county owns a lift, but we know, we've had this discussion before, so it is what it is. I don't intend to go back.
Okay, after the Sunbelt, I have the Microsoft G3 license, 3,162.35.
Right.
Yes, if you look back to the very back of that, there's a breakdown. When we first started the G series, the government series, I was the first one that started. It went on my credit card. Then I believe Ray was the second one. And then what Linda and I are talking about, she said she was going to have a discussion with the county board how they wanted to do it. This breakdown is, they charged me one lump sum for a year of G3 licenses, but I only have 4 of them on EOC laptops. There are 3 that go to maintenance for Doug, Matt, and Richard, 3 to the county board for Randy, Shannon, and Ray, and 3 to the state's attorney, Dana, Elizabeth, and the secretary, and then 1 to the ETSB for Tim Furman.
This may be a question for the internet committee, but
So the-
I assume this is a good deal for the county in terms of.
It was the lowest price we had at the time, and we get free IT service, so.
So then we use your sales binder to submit these claims to the other departments for their licensing?
That was what Linda was going to talk to the board about, how you wanted to do that, if you wanted them to pay directly, or if you wanted me to submit the claim and then the departments pay EMA back.
That makes sense.
I'd say use your sales binder to bill the other departments back.
The sales binder is one use only for $9 a month. I can only track the PPE stuff on it.
Well, surely
Oh.
Linda can help with that.
Okay. The sales binders for PPE.
Well, it's for inventory. It's for inventory, not really sales. You can do sales on it, but it's basically an inventory management system. What comes in, what goes out.
One more?
That's the last one I have.
Well,
Oh, I have Piatt County Service Company, $203.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fuel.
that came a day after I sent the first batch in. And then there will be another one coming through for FirstNet that I just received yesterday.
$203.20 for Piatt County Service Company. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve these claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Okay, I'll second it. Further discussion? Thank you, Mike, for the explanation. Very helpful. We'll do a roll call then, please.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes. Okay, motion carries, thank you. Mike, anything to report to us?
I have a lot to report.
I'm sorry.
You want to hear from Mrs. Smith first? Or?
No,
I'm
we better
not
stick
there
with the
yet.
agenda.
I'm at the end.
Grant application for 2021 radiological preparedness program has been submitted in the amount of $23,796.18. We received the NOSA, Notice of State Award, so once you sign it, Chairman Spencer, then we'll receive that for rep purchases. Now, the way they're doing it, the grant that you will sign will be for $14,000, and then I have $9,280 that was rollover that we didn't spend because of basically COVID activities. So the total of it would be $23,796.18.
One time we were wondering if they would let you roll it over, but
Right, yeah, they've agreed to it this
good.
time. Ppe Distribution, currently, we have the state required stockpile for a 60-day burn rate. We share that with the Piatt side of the DeWitt Piatt Public Health. Mr. Schroeder was having, well, all public health departments were having problems getting PPE during the last push. So Ema became the logistics for it. So since I was able to get it, we have a stockpile that includes my 60-day burn rate and a little bit of his. So we have over a little bit of what we need, but that's because it's kind of earmarked for Mr. Schroeder. Ms. Rhodes was supposed to be in here today. I thought I'll speak on this. I think she was taking care of it with Judge Finson. But the Illinois Supreme Court order requiring all individuals to wear face coverings at all times, along with pre-screening when entering the courthouse, suggesting IR thermometer scanning and questionnaires. So,
Okay, you're shaking your head.
I got that same thing. I think the word said should, and there was an explanation is that the Illinois Supreme Court recognized that the sheriffs had control over the courthouses. So they're highly recommending it, but I don't think they said shall.
well, this is what I received, and I don't know about the Sheriff's Association.
No, it wasn't from the Sheriff's Association. It was from, it's the same thing that you got. I'm pretty sure it said should.
Okay, well, I'm not going to argue it. If it, whichever way, if we do, that's going to cut into our stockpile. Because it also suggests, I guess, that if somebody shows up without one, you're to supply them. And it suggests all court employees be wearing them at all times. So, that'll have to come from somewhere. With that, another reminder that after July 15, until further notice, it is up to the county to provide PPE and cleaners and cleaning equipment to the county entities. I have that document here. I know I've sent it in another packet, but if you want another letter from Ema, I can give you that. Again, this is kind of repeat from last report. Departments are reaching out to me for more PPE. I need guidance on should I purchase it and distribute it as before, or the department's responsible for sourcing and purchasing themselves. With the only thing about them purchasing themselves is a lack of standardization and continuity of cost, maybe an issue for when we go to turn it in for grant purposes. And also, if we're not using vetted or trusted supply chains, there's been some issues with that. Election efforts are underway. The CMS warehouse right now, they received a listing request from the State Board of Elections, which they have pulled all those items. Every county will get an allotment of hand sanitizers and face coverings for the preliminary and actual election day activities. Those have already been pulled together and packaged in the warehouse, and they will start going out to respective counties beginning of next week. So I don't know how many, I know we're getting stuff, I don't know how much, I don't know how many pallets.
It's one pallet.
It's one pallet. So it says it will be sending the shipments to the local EMA official, and then I'll need to coordinate with Ms. Harper as to where you want to store it, or if I store it until you need it. And I was also, it was also suggested that we help deliver it to the different polling places.
I already have that
Okay.
under control.
If there's any issues, you feel like you need more materials in your county, then there will be ample time to supplement and augment if needed. These packages will be clearly marked by county and will say election use only, so they'll be kept separate from the IEMA inventory that I keep. The alternate housing program is still a must. They're still harping on it. Public health does not have one, and they're wanting to work together to make it happen. This is the one where we need a lease agreement with somewhere. We'd already met once about this. I believe it
I
was the
talked
best.
to Dave Rimmert about this, and he said they got the same instructions, but he has no plans to move forward with it. That's what he told me. He did not plan to move forward with it.
Well, that's, I can pass that up to him. I mean, you know,
It's been a while since I talked to him.
yeah. I'm kind of in the middle of it, because they're telling me we have to have it. We've got people saying they're not going to do it, so I don't know. FEMA Public Assistance Grant, there are now 64 entities that have not applied for PA grant. This does not include private nonprofit religious institutions. I'm currently working with the First Christian Church, Willow Tree, Mid-Piatt Fire, Northern Piatt Fire, Monticello Library, Village of Ppe, Village of Cerro Gordo, Village of Mansfield, several daycare centers, and then whatever township Whiteheath is. Yeah, Kathleen Piatt has reached out, so they're eligible as well. And these are for Category B reimbursements, which are basically PPE or preventative measures for the spread of COVID. And this is evolving every day. Again, meeting with FEMA Liaison on September 10th to discuss project planning and submissions. If we have some of these agencies that are at the ones I mentioned, if they're at a certain point where they're ready to hear some of the higher level stuff, I'm going to invite them to that meeting. But it's a daytime meeting, so I don't know if they can go. Hyper reach, we've had 39 alerts since 5/08, mostly weather. Most recent, we got a Mansfield boil order, we got a Whiteheath boil order, Willow Branch Township closures. We was not notified about the League Farms Buffalo Stampede, but that is something that this can be used for, just to get information out to people. Still setting up child accounts for the fire districts, continue meeting with ISP District 10 concerning IPAW's use for highway interstate closures, such as the one they had a couple weeks ago. They closed I-72 with a multi-semi crash. Collected radiation symmetry kits from ISP D10 and IDOT D5. Inspected and recertified kits with rep officers, redistributed them. Currently reviewing hazard vulnerability assessments for Kirby Medical Center and the Atwood and Cerro Gordo Rural Clinics. Crystal Alexander and Mike Schroeder are on that committee. Federal Health and Human Services requires a COVID-19 vaccination plan for clinics, drive-thrus, logistics, and security. Forming a planning committee with Public Health, Kirby, and others to be named. The committee will develop a plan that includes timelines, deliverables, and metrics. I received the FEMA PA expenditures for Champaign County and currently reviewing them for scope and project similarities. I'll review the CURES expenditures soon and do the same. I do not I do know that they are vetting all expenses through PA first before submitting them to Cures. Still working closely with Champaign County Deputy Director of Finance, Tammy Ogden, and then been working with Tony Kirkman and Mental Health Center and Doug Winder from Piatt Fire to do the first round, to get the first round of badging, county badging out. Piatt Fire is kind of easy to work with, so they're kind of the guinea pig on how we want it set up with the barcode and the training stuff, so working on that. That's it.
Questions, Shannon?
Yeah, I was, one of the major questions I had was with the reimbursements. I've gone there and Googled that or whatever, and it mentions about the FEMA repayment portal. There's a portal to track the reimbursement payments. Do we have that set up? Who has access to it?
For the FEMA PA, I have access to the FEMA portal because I'll be the one that's submitting the projects and the reimbursement claims. For the individual entities, like local villages, they will go in and set theirs. They'll have a designated individual that go in and set theirs up.
But for our county reimbursements, we have a portal set up. Do we have a second person to have access to that, to be able to monitor the funds being reimbursed, and has there been any funds?
No.
Then we had that one check that you brought at the last meeting.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
not sure that was part of the
that wasn't
portal
related.
reimbursement along what I'm talking about.
No, that was EMT, that's another grant reimbursement. Right now, there's only one person, and that's me. That seems to be how the FEMA PA is working. The emergency manager is the point of contact for the county. And the projects can be written by other people, but they have to be entered. Now, this is my understanding, and I can run it by our FEMA liaison on the 10th. But it's a single point of entry, single point of contact.
Well, I would ask them if there should be a second person, because how do we know what reimbursements as a committee are coming in with no access to that portal?
Because you're supposed to be sending me the reimbursements that are eligible.
But as they get reimbursed, coming through the reimbursement portal, be able to see and track those reimbursements for access.
I'm assuming they're going to go straight to the treasurer. Treasurer, just like any other grant does, or to Linda.
But the way it reads, it tracks them and organizes them and puts them in an easy portal form to be able to see those. Have we had any? We've had none come through there so far.
We have not submitted our first project. That's what the FEMA liaison is meeting with me. He's meeting with all of the county EMAs about how to write your project, what to put in there, and how to write it so that your AELs will fit for the 75%, and then you can do that clean sweep of the CARES or the CARES money for the 25%.
Well, I think I would ask them about the portal access, if someone from the committee needs to be having access to that as well.
I can ask and give you an answer.
Okay.
Like so many things in the county, we have one person responsible or doing so many things, and that's repeated all over.
Well, I think we have a committee to kind of keep track of that stuff.
I agree with you, I'm just saying it's a problem that's throughout the county.
That would be a very important item to be able to see what those reimbursements are, because this is a lot of money, and we need to see exactly when and the amounts that those reimbursements are coming in.
When's the first submission?
There have been submissions already, but there's no deadline on when the first submission. It's a rolling grant, and matter of fact, they just yesterday.
The PA?
Yes, for the PA. It's called a rolling grant. You can put them in as you get them. You don't have to get everything in a pile and submit one time. You put them in as you get your stuff ready. You put it in. You can put another one in. And as of yesterday, they lifted the deadlines. They moved it from March 21 to April 21, and then now they just said FEMA has lifted it until further notice. So there's no
And you're
deadline.
the single point of contact, right?
Yes.
So have you put be probably be a good idea if you put out an email to all office heads if they have submissions, because I've not seen anything from you about when those submissions should be, or when you should tally up all your expenses for COVID-related things that we want to submit, so that we make sure that you get all the information that you need.
Right, and I have a template, or I have the actual letter that Champagne set out. I'm gonna tweak it, get with Linda. Her and I agreed to work as closely as we can on this, and, you know, probably have her send it out with more official, having her send it out, I guess. But it gives directions for what the department heads need to be tracking and how they need to route it. And Champagne runs a little bit different than we do, of course, so Linda's gonna have to tweak how it gets routed. Or if you just stamp COVID on it and then she'll catch it. But I can't make those decisions. I mean, that's her office, how she wants to handle that.
Yeah, I Googled it here. It says the recipients should work through their FEMA regional point of contacts, like you mentioned. Then it explains how easy process it is. So yeah, I think that's pretty important.
Okay, well, we'll move on to public comment. 2 minutes per speaker, please. Sandy, you're raising
Mr. Carroll, could I,
Try to keep it in 2 minutes.
could you, your chairman, could you query?
Actually, raise the
Ray,
chairman.
would you query your board and ask his permission to give me more than 2 minutes? I can't do the time limit. You know I can't.
Do you have an adopted policy that's 2 minutes?
It's in the bylaws, but they can override it with the
Sandy, how
vote.
much time do you need?
I probably need, well, I don't know. I might need about 10 minutes.
I don't think we can go that.
Well, yeah, you can.
5 minutes.
It's limited to 5 minutes.
I came to speak today. I have spoken twice to 2 of my county board members about my concerns about Mr. Holmes and his identity of Smedley Butler on Facebook. That it came about the end of March, when we were going into this whole thing about the gag order and the lawsuit. And so he was really speaking very learned, Smedley Butler speaking very learned about EMA. I didn't understand it. Suddenly on April 1st, it came to me, it was revealed that Smedley Butler was our EMA director. After all the days preceding this where he slammed the county board, those posts have been taken down, by the way. I revealed his identity on Facebook. I was appalled that this was an appointed, hired official representing us in a pandemic. And he's masquerading as Smedley Butler and bad-mouthing the county board. That's called insubordination in my book. So he's bad-mouthing the county board, and it goes on. Plus, after I revealed his identity, the very next post on Facebook is our state's attorney, who blasts me a new opening for blasting her boy. And then that was followed by Elizabeth Dobson, also jumped in the fray. And then his father jumped in the fray. And when his father referred to my grandchildren, and you will not leave this room, when his father referred to my grandchildren in that Facebook post, then it became personal. Because my grandchildren are my world. But going on April 30th, on Smedley Butler posted to look at the tiny little link at the end of talking about the county board. But then he also began posting, he began posting things about EMA under Smedley Butler, and it just goes on from there. And they're very sarcastic, they're demeaning, they're insulting that he is an officer of this county masquerading as Smedley Butler.
Who, not to interrupt you, but who, by the way, is a historical figure of some significance.
I don't care.
Well, what I'm saying is I wonder about the appropriateness of...
I don't know Smedley Butler. I don't know. I was the last to be in on the joke that he was our EMA director, obviously. So going on, then here's Dana Rhodes jumped in the fray. And Lee Holmes jumped in the fray again. I referred to the situation in the county at that time as a pissing match. I still feel it was the same. That was, got a good response from Dana. Those posts have been taken down, but I saved screenshots, people. So then Smedley Butler goes on May 5th. He has another diatribe. Smedley Butler on May 5th again. Dana jumps in again. He has remarks to say about the canceled meeting. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But finally, he gets a new Facebook page that's official on May 13th. Piatt County Management Agency page. Finally, he's got his own page. He doesn't have to talk like Smedley Butler anymore, but he still does. So I'm going on. Then we have June 10th. June 10th was about the state of Illinois admits FBI state police probe indicted chair, posted by Smedley Butler on his own page, and I'm going to be reading this. Smedley Butler, in my opinion, shots fired. Stand by, everything will come out now. See post above. Also still being accused of hiding behind the facade of Smedley Butler, even though I have been Smedley Butler since public beta in September 2006. Goes on down, Randy Schumard. I really tried to pay attention to his statement referring to Ray Spencer, but I couldn't make my mind stop asking who ties his shoes for him. And then we go on. Have you heard enough, or do I continue?
Continue.
Now we go on to another post. This is whenever Randy boycotted the meeting and his freedom of speech. He boycotted the evening meeting, and I included a screenshot of what Dana had to say about why he was absent, and here's what I had to say. I could read all of this, but you can look it up, because this was on the Monticello, well, this is about Randy, so we'll go on from there. I'm getting... Smedley Butler says, in my opinion, there's still more to the story that the public is not understanding. What has been is being done to the EMA department puts the taxpayers' health and safety at risk daily. There's no money budgeted, the taxpayers are paying for a service. And then Randy Schumard jumps in and explains what they did at the meeting. And then... you know, it's just goes on and on and on. On and on and on. And I confronted it, and I'm tired of Smedley Butler. I'm tired of everything in the county that is just chaos, looking for a hole to file a lawsuit in. And it's a pervasive sense of fear in the courthouse, of what comes next, and what you all in the back row are going to stir up next. So have at it. I don't know who invited you to the county, but I think you ought to leave.
Sandy, I think you bring up a good point, if I may. Going back to this Facebook claim, I had no idea about all this. I feel Facebook is probably, or not probably, is not a good outlet for personal comments that relate to the county.
I don't think it's a good outlet for any elected official or any appointed official. The only reason I'm on Facebook on that heinous page of Steve Schreckler's is because I believe you have to know your friends, but you got to know your enemies better. And I perceive all of you as my enemy.
I like you.
Thank you, Sheriff Hunt. You didn't always.
Well, we didn't always get along.
Hmm?
We didn't always get along.
No, we didn't.
No, I appreciate you bringing this up because
I've had it with this. I mean, I've had it in the county. I mean, I've had it with all of the crap going on with Dana trying to find a hole, and I've just had it. This is my county. I've lived here for 44 years. I've raised 3 children. I've had a business. It's not, you guys have made it something different. I don't know what you want.
Sandy, do you have copies that we could have of those?
I can send you what I have. You can also probably, well, some of these have been taken down. The Dana ones have been taken down, but I screenshot them. I didn't screenshot them early enough. But screenshots can be evidence.
I think we should have copies of those.
Would you
If they're-
like me to get copies for them?
I'll have to organize them and maybe send them in a better fashion, because I kind of put these together in a hurry.
Okay.
But you know,
Sandy, we're just about done, so
any other time, you know, you have an employee, this insubordinate, you know what you do with them? You know.
thank you, Sandy. Okay, other public comments?
Yes.
Okay, 2 minutes.
How many?
2.
I need the same amount of time as she had.
Exactly.
I'm taking the same amount of
2
time as
minutes.
she had.
2 minutes.
I'm getting more than 2 minutes.
I'm going to listen for 2 minutes.
It's against the law to give one person that is in favor of you guys more time than somebody else that you know is going to read your behinds.
Sheriff, we may have to remove this gentleman.
If you have to remove me, remove me.
Please do, that'll be a federal lawsuit.
Your state's attorney sent the county board a resolution to fix your illegal compensation in April. None of it was placed on the agenda. So here's Mr. Spencer's May compensation, thanks to a FOIA request from the television news. May 6th, you got paid for 2 meetings. What's the law say? County board compensation shall be computed on a per diem basis. You've heard me say this before in a meeting. Or an annual basis, or a combination of per diem and annual. Per diem means per day, not per stinking meeting. You got paid for 2 meetings on the 6th. And I'm glad you take plenty of time going through all these bills from this committee. I mean, damn if you go through the bills that you yourself submit for all these illegal payments, and you're essentially stealing from the public at every one of these meetings. 2 meetings on May the 6th, 2 meetings on May the 7th, 2 meetings on May the 11th. Well, there's 3 meetings right there you got illegal payment for.
How does this relate to EMA?
Okay, you had,
It relates to bills.
your 2 minutes are up, so I'll entertain.
And then on June,
Do you have anything related
you
to
got
EMA?
2 meetings on June the 3rd,
Your
4
2
meetings
minutes
on
are up.
June the 4th,
I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
2 meetings on June the 18th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings times $60 that you stole from the government. And in July, 2 meetings on the 1st, 2 meetings on the 2nd, 3 meetings on the 3rd, 2 meetings on the 16th, 2 meetings on the 17th, 3 meetings on the 23rd, 2 on the 30th, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meetings times $60 that you stole from the taxpayers in violation of state law. And I think the sheriff should just walk up there and slap handcuffs on you right now, and you should resign. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Here, Sheriff.
I got a question. You're Mr.
Kraft.
Okay. Mr. Kraft, is this something that's been, and I don't know, I'm asking, clearly it's been brought to light many times, and I guess you've done it once before at another meeting. How far does this go back, do you know?
It goes back several years.
How far, I mean, do you know?
I could request all the information from the clerk.
So does it go back 10 years?
The way we've always done it doesn't matter.
No, I agree, Don't try
I
to put
understand
words.
what you're saying, but they've always done it this way, but they were informed by me in March and April. They were informed by the state's attorney in April by her extending then this new resolution to fix it. And here it is September, and they haven't done a damn thing to fix it. So they knew, and knowledge means it's prosecutable.
Well, if everybody was doing it, and I'm not saying it's legal, by no means. I mean, clearly I think you're probably more experienced at that than I am as far as this compensation thing, because I haven't studied it. So if it was illegal before, and it's still illegal, so everybody should be treated the same, would you agree?
I would say once they were notified, and you got one board member that reimbursed the county, and you got another board member that doesn't count more than one meeting per day. So there's at least two of them that know that they shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
And there's another board member that charges the county to go to a freaking city meeting. If that's not ridiculous, I don't know what is. But go ahead.
So you agree that if it was illegal before, that it's still illegal, whether you paid for it back or anything. So if everybody agrees to pay it back, would that, and we adhere to the policy the way as you explained it and per the law, would that be a way to solve this issue?
In my opinion, when they were notified in April, if they would have stopped doing it, I would have shut my mouth and said, hey, they fixed the problem.
Yeah, I understand.
And instead, meeting after meeting, July, look at all their freaking meetings in July. That must have been a good payday for you. I mean, you have to make an extra house payment or something, so you went to extra meetings, I don't know. But the point is, they were notified by the state's attorney, and here's the resolution that proves it, and I got a copy of the email that proves it. So once they know, then they know they're violating the law by continuing to do it. All
I
they have
think
to
we
do
would
is
have to
stop.
ask the state's attorney, if I may.
Well, I'm sure the state attorney was aware of it
If it
10
was.
years ago when she was
If
still
it-
here, that all this is the way it was being done.
And
If it was-
it's not, is
And
ignorance
she
is not
may
allowed.
not, and she may not have been up on it as well as the proper
My
procedure.
question is, if it was amended as presented, when would it even take effect?
Well, you had.
And I'm not asking you,
Right.
because you're no judge. Are you an attorney?
Well, this is
Are you
public
a state's
comment.
attorney?
This is public comment. Are you a freaking state's attorney? No. Are you an attorney? No. But what you do, you stop getting your illegal payments. However you have to do it, if you pay everybody nothing, that's better than overpaying them. So quit talking to me like I'm an ignorant fool, because you're the one that's the fool getting paid extra.
I'm glad that's your opinion.
I'm trying to come to a resolution here. I
The
understand-
resolution is to stop it, period.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not, if it's illegal, it's illegal. I
And
mean,
they were informed by me, I'm not an attorney, they were informed by the state's attorney with this letter in April, and if they pay everything back up to April and stop doing it, I'm
But
fine.
as you said, if it's per diem per day, then obviously everybody in the county should have known that, all the way up to the top chain of command, including legal counsel.
Exactly.
And that should have been stopped a long time ago.
Exactly.
You can't pretend that it wasn't that way. You agree?
I agree, it was that.
All right. I would recommend that you guys get with Dana and say, look, if that's the law, we made a mistake.
I've done it the way I've been told, and that's the way the timesheets read.
And that's what I'm getting at. That's why I asked the question. This process probably started a long time ago.
I agree. it
I
did.
would not point
probably
at
a
these
decade
newer
ago.
guys, Dale and these newer guys that came on the board and said, well, this is how they do it. And they never looked into it, good, because it really didn't jump to that level. But, to defend other people that had been doing it, that had, paid it back is still a crime, no matter when it started. It's still a crime when it committed started. If it started 20 years ago.
It's a crime when they know they're doing it, they're not supposed to.
I know, but there was also
Paying
a lack of
it back could
communication.
also admit guilt.
I'm sorry, that's not the correct term. There was a lack of confidence in the legal counsel. Would you agree?
in what?
The confidence between the two groups,
Yeah, I don't know.
the state's attorney and the county board. There's a lack of confidence in this months that you're talking about.
Well, there's no question, there's lack of confidence.
Right, right. So I'm trying to come to a resolution, you know. You guys are right.
I have a public comment. I don't know if I said it during my first meeting that I came to, but I say it at most public bodies that I attend. Actually, it's a question. Have you ever read the powers and duties of your position? And part of the challenge that we see as an organization is the lack of knowledge of what your duties are and what your responsibilities are and what the law is on how things are to be applied. In this particular case of pay, we appreciate that people paid it back. That was doing, you know, to me, that's doing the right thing. When they're made aware that it was wrong, doing the right thing is don't do it anymore. My state's attorney, when I ask him at what point does something become criminal, he says when you identify that they're doing it and it's wrong and you inform them and then they continue, then he considered that to be a criminal act at that point because they were informed. They understand the lack of, you know, some of the depth of all the laws we have on the books. I can't imagine, I mean, when you take a look at the Illinois compiled statutes, my God, we have more than any state anywhere. There's thousands of them, and it takes a lot of research. We tend to know most of those because we focus on local government. You guys have got serious problems here, but some of you have chose not to do anything to fix them. In regard to the public comment from the lady that was here earlier, I would urge that your personnel policy have a social media policy. Most, you know, agencies will have some type of social media policy, but you also have to understand, which is something she was proud to tout, First Amendment right. You start trampling a person's First Amendment right on their duty time, there's a fine line on what you can and can't do. And you may not like what people say, and I know you may not like what I'm saying, but we have a First Amendment right to speak and address these types of issues with our government, whether it's on my time, you know, this situation with your EMA, the one thing I haven't heard anybody say today, I do appreciate you going through the bills like this, is there something in his job performance that's lacking? Is he not doing his job? Because it sure seems to be that there's a pinprick here for some reason, but I've not heard anything that says he's not doing a good job out there. You know, these are things, you know, I'm 60 miles away, so I don't know what the internal workings are here, but it's easy to fix things, but you have to have a good, honest, open discussion. And Sheriff, I greatly appreciate the comment you made about the Supreme Court issue, because we've argued this day in and day out. When courts don't want to give up something, we turn to the sheriff and say the sheriff controls the courthouse, not the Supreme Court, not the chief judges. This is your courthouse. You set the rules. And I appreciate that you are aware of that and enforce that, because all too often, there's times where the upper echelon of the judicial system wants to run buckshot over everybody and everything. And that's not how our system of government works. It just isn't. As far as the Facebook page and what was paid and what wasn't paid, it's easy to put a Facebook page into a corporate name, whether it be a fire department or the sheriff's office or the county. There's a way to do that. I don't know if he knew how to do it or not, but the point is, was the money for personal or was it for public business? That's the important point. If it was for public business, that's the purpose. If it was for private, you can't do it. Violates Article 8, Section 1 of the Constitution. There's tons of answers out there, but you got to start reading. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Is there any other public comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know the board's gonna look at this as the EMA's dad, but I'm a taxpayer. I'm a business owner in this county. What I've seen from this board for support for the EMA is so lacking, it is pathetic. Holding his feet to the fire for every cent that he's ever done and not making yourselves accountable for your own. As a taxpayer, this is This is unacceptable. This man puts in more hours than any one of you. He's dedicated himself to the county he grew up in to try to get it into shape that we were lacking. There is not much protection in this county for what happens once there's a disaster. There's no one in the state better at figuring out how to do it with the best help the state and federal government can offer. And I think it's incumbent on this board to take some trust in this man. I've never seen it. For the pay he earns and the hours he puts in and the ridicule that he gets, this isn't right. I don't care if it's my son, my neighbor, you, anybody. If you were treated this way, what would you think? I'm glad he hasn't just quit. But he told me, this is where I grew up, this is what I want to do, they need this. And I want to be able to provide it for them. I want to get the protections that our county needs. And he is working with all kinds of agencies. He's tired about this, and I'm going to ask you about this. Let the man do his job. Pay him properly. Give him an assistant. You keep adding and adding and adding what you want him to do, but you haven't ever given him assistance. I'm sorry. It is a taxpayer speaking. As his father, I'd say quit. But he's dedicated. He's doggone good at what he does. If you don't think so, just start asking around. Let him do his job. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.